Hi, this is Darby with rejoiceandcreate.com, and I'd like to share with you my first video tutorial ever. So let's see how it goes. Today I'd like to share this card I made for my mother for Mother's Day. I'm blessed with a wonderful mother, and I wanted to show her appreciation with a color that she loves the most, the mint macaron. But this card is made as a corner flip technique, and it has a secret. It's also a gift card holder. Now I made this card with the mint macaron, and I used mint macaron ink, Sahara sand, and Island Indigo. And I also used the Blooms and Bliss paper pack, which is on the retiring list. Now there's still some available, last I checked, but if you like it, you might want to go ahead and pick up a few packages while it's still available. Such pretty colors. And I also used, for the embellishments, the sprinkle embellishments. And these are also on the retired list, but they were still available last I checked. And it has some fun colors in it. White pearls, it has watermelon wonder, peekaboo peach, and it actually has pool party. These little square sequins are pool party, but they match the mint macaron very nicely, so I used them for the embellishments. I used the Thoughtful Banner stamp set for the Happy Mother's Day sentiment. Of course, Father's Day is coming up, and congrats for all your graduates that are coming up. And it actually has a banner punch that matches. But today I wanted to use this banner from the birthday banner set and the coordinating framelit from the bunch of banners. For the stamping of the flower, I used the Blooms and Wishes stamp set. And I cut it out with the stitch square framelits, with the stitch shape framelits, but I used the largest square. Now all these are going to be carrying over, all these stamp sets and these framelits are going to be carrying over into the new catalog, so they're great investments to have. Alright, for the card I want to show you today though, I'm going to choose a slightly different color pattern, and I'd like to go ahead and make a birthday card. So let's get started. So to make this card, we start with a base, and I start with Sahara sand, and it's just an 8.5 by 5.5 that's scored at 4 1/4 on the long side into a standard card base. A mat of Whisper White that's just a 1/4 inch smaller at 5 1/4 by 4, and a piece of designer series paper, and I'm going with the ones that have Sweet Sugarplum and Blushing Bride and Rich Razzleberry in there, as well as Sahara sand. And this one is 5 inches by 3 3/4. And I also need another piece of designer series paper that's 2 1/4 inches square, so it's 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. And I use that to make the back of the gift card pocket a little bit prettier because of the way we have to cut the mat. In addition, I just need another piece of Whisper White to stamp and cut out the focal point and the banner. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to do is to cut the corner flip. And Stampin' Trimmer works really well for that. Certainly if you have another trimmer you may be able to line it up, but this is really nice. I've gotten used to it and now I can't see myself working without it. And we're going to have to make a cut, an angle cut from the top to about the center and the center to the side. And we want to do that even, and I want to make it easy, so what we're going to do, or how I do it, is I just turn the card sideways, and I line that top up at the 3 inch mark. Okay, so hold your finger up on the guide for a moment and move the blade to the 1/2 inch mark, because we're not going to cut all the way from the edge. We want to start it at the 1/2 inch mark. And gently lower it into the cardstock. And we're going to cut into all the way down to the 3 inch mark, so from a 1/2 inch to 3 inches. And that's our first cut. So we'll lift that one up, and now our second cut has to extend from where we ended on that up towards the top. So how I found to do that one easiest is to flip it over, put the top of the card up against the guide, and align that corner again with a 3 inch mark. Now our cutting blade is still at the 3, but if yours got joggled, go ahead and put it back at the 3, because we want to meet right at that last cut that we made. So gently lower into the cardstock, and now we're going to cut up to the 1/2 inch mark. So the first one we went from 1/2 inch to 3 inches. This one we're going from 3 to 1/2 inch. All right, and what that will give you is a corner. All right, let me move this out of the way for just a moment. We'll be using it again. Now what you want to do is the top edge of the card, gently flip that down and flip your corner up and line up that top edge parallel with the fold on the card. And go ahead and press that down. Okay, and you can use a bone folder as well, just to gently press it down. Now you can see that that pocket that we made is actually where the gift card's going to sit, but if we don't do anything more, it's going to fall right out. So that's where the mat comes in. And I found the easiest way to do the mat is to take my Whisper White. Oops, that's the wrong one. Take my Whisper White that's cut at 5 1/4 by 4, and to take the DSP and to go ahead and adhere it at this point. And you can use a little snail. And go ahead and line that up. Then take the front of your card and just place this mat over where the front of the card is and where you want to line that up. And I line the corners up and the edges so it all looks even. And I'm not quite even yet. There we go. And just take a little pencil and you can see where the fold is on the side and the fold is on the top. And what I did is I just marked a little tick with the pencil right there, right inside where the fold is on both sides. Because what we're going to do is cut off an angle where the fold went over, and we'll cut that corner off of the mat. So let me get my trimmer back over here. And line that mark that you made on the top and on the side on your cutting guide. And I just push it over a little bit, so I actually just cut off the marks I made. But save this piece. I have a little bonus project for this when we're finished. Alright, and that's how this is what our pocket's going to be made out of. Because it is a pocket though, we don't want to put adhesive all the way on the bottom. We just want to put adhesive down one side, across the bottom, and up the other side. And you want to use a probably pretty strong adhesive. So I'm using Fast Fuse, but you can also use tear and tape. Because you want something that's not going to pop off and release your gift card before it's ready to go. So I'm going to flip that back over for a moment. And we'll just line up our mat again. And press it down. Okay, press it on the sides really well. You might want to burnish it a little bit because we do want it to stick. We want the gift card to stay in there and not disappear before it's ready to be used. Alright, and then go ahead and flip your corner back over. And that gives a pretty mat, and it makes your focal area pop, but it also gives us a place for the gift card to go into. Now, unless you're going for a geometric look, this may not be so pretty, and we'll go ahead and take care of that in a little bit. But we'll start with the front right now. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our focal point and our banner. And for the flower, for our focal point this time, I'm going to use Blushing Bride. And the flower stamp from the Blooms and Wishes stamp set. And I'll go ahead and stamp it down a little bit in this corner. Because remember, I'm going to be cutting it out with that large framelit. Square, the stitched framelit. And for the center, I'm going to use Sweet Sugarplum. I said it's really nice when they list all the colors they use so that there's no guessing on my part, because I'm not always the best at coordinating colors. Alright, so some Sweet Sugarplum. And I'd like to use a little bit of a sprig for some decoration. So in Sahara Sand, I'm going to stamp the little sprig from the Blooms and Wishes as well. Now I want to make sure I want to make it look like it's kind of tucked into the flower, you know, into and around the petals. So I'm going to ink it up, but not all the way down the stem, because that allows me to tuck it in easier. So I'll hang the stem off the side. And let's see, I'll start on that one. And again, kind of spread them out around the flower a little bit. And one more time, maybe over here. Okay. Alright, now let me move it a little bit, and I'm going to stamp the banner next, and I'd like to stamp the banner with Sahara sand. Let me stamp that up, and it's so pretty. It just makes a nice little banner. Alright, now here's the happy birthday. And let's see, I think actually I want it to swing up and down first. So what I'm going to do is go that way, and it's so nice with the clear photopolymer stamps because you can go ahead and just line it up so the sentiment matches in the banner. So what I'm trying to do right now is kind of curve the happy around and put the birthday down straight a bit. There we go. And for this one, I'm going to give a pop of rich razzleberry. Alright, let me see that, line that up nicely. Alright, how pretty. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut the focal out with the largest square of the stitched framelits, and we'll cut the banner out, and I'll be right back. Alright, so here I have the banner, and here I have the focal. Let me get these inks out of the way because my fingers seem to find their way into the ink pads very easily when they're out. And we'll just go ahead and put that together. I like to hold the corner of the flip fold down with a dimensional. So I'll go ahead and put a dimensional on the corner, underside, and flip it down. Gives it a little bit of dimension to the card. And for this, I'll go ahead, let's see, which way do I want it? I think I just like it the way it was. So we'll just go ahead and put it on that way. And I'll use a little fuse, or snail would be fine at this point too. Try not to put my head in the camera. And for the banner, we're going to go ahead and pop it up on dimensionals. And I'll put 3 on this one on each end and 1 in the middle. Alright, let me take those off. And we'll center it right down on the bottom part of the card. Right side up, hopefully. Alright, to give a little extra color on that one, or extra detail, I'm going to use, instead of the Sprinkles Embellishments pack, I'm going to use the 216/18 color enamel shapes. And as of this morning, these were also still available. They have nice stars, hearts, large and small circles. And I'm going to use 3 of the circles. I'll use 2 of the small ones and 1 of the big ones, and I think I'll put that one up over, I'll put that one over there, and put a big one down here, and maybe another small one right there. Alright, so that gives a bit of a color. Now the only thing we have left to finish is the inside, and what I'll do is cover that over with, if I can find it, my 2 1/4 inch square. There it is right there. My 2 1/4 inch square piece of DSP. And I'm going to go ahead and use some fast fuse on here because it's going across 2 layers, and this will hold it down just a little bit better. And the way I line it up is I line up the 2 corners of the DSP right where the corner of the white comes in to try to make it look a little intentional. There we go. And rub it down really well. And you're all ready for your gift card. Now you can stamp whatever sentiment you want on the inside, or handwrite your greeting as well. But this makes a really nice card, and I can see it being used not just for Mother's Day and for Happy Birthday, but graduations are coming up this time. There are, certainly Father's Day as well, and multiple birthdays come throughout the year. So I hope you try this card, and I hope you enjoy it. And I want to give you one bonus project, which I thought was rather cute. And it was made out of this last corner that I cut off of the mat. The piece that we cut off of our mat before. And what I did is I turned it into a corner bookmark. And it goes on the book just like this. And it becomes a bookmark. And that's just a bonus project. All you do for that is fold the corner of your card with each point end towards the 90-degree corner. Okay, so I folded the point towards the 90-degree, the point towards the 90-degree, put that right in there, and then burnish it really well. Okay, so what you have is, looks like kind of like a cape right now. The 2 points are folded towards the 90-degree corner, which has a pretty back already because of the DSP. But on the front, all we're going to do is we're going to use one of the stitched framelit squares, and it is the second one from the inside. So it's the second largest one from the inside, or 1, 2, 3, third smallest one. And we're going to cut a piece of Whisper White, and I already did. Oh, here they are. Okay, so I cut a piece of Whisper White into that shape, and it fits almost perfectly on top of that corner that we just made. So all you do now is just stamp on it like greeting, and I can go ahead and stamp with the same colors that I used before to make it coordinated. The thoughtful banners, I'm using the Celebrate on this one. So let me grab that one, and I'll celebrate with Rich Razzleberry. And line that up just right on the top here. There. What I did was I went ahead and put the fast fuse on the bottom, not quite to the edges, but close to the edges, because it will hang over in a couple spots depending on where you cut it, where you cut your corner off. And then what I did is I put it like this, where it would go onto the right side of the page. Perhaps that's a bias from a right-handed person, but that's the way I lined it up. And let me make sure we're all together there. All right, and go ahead and press that down with the ink pad. Burnish again really well. And there you have a bonus corner bookmark from your corner fold card. Well, this is a little pretty addition to add into any card. So here you have it, my first video tutorial ever, and I'm happy to share it with you. Perhaps if it all goes well, there'll be a second video tutorial ever. But here is a corner fold gift card with a bonus corner bookmark. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you try it, and I hope you have a very blessed day. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.